news.
Trafficking by force
Breaking
or
news.
coercion. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
In relation to Jane Doe.
Right.
Not guilty.
Count 5.
Just came in.
Guilty just came into our
Guilty, right.
And
Okay.
that's relating again to Jane.
That is a consistent verdict with the law. That's
So,
consistent with the burden that was met by the prosecution.
Diddy was
and
found
it's
guilty
consistent across the board. What they found is that there was
on
no force,
2
there
counts
was no undue pressure, there was no coercion.
and not guilty on 3
Charges
counts.
fell.
The main
what
shit.
they did find in both cases is that
Breaking
he was very
news.
well aware, regardless of a
Breaking
freak-off,
news,
a
ladies
hotel
and
night or a
gentlemen.
kid night, that he was moving
Yes.
individuals for the purposes of prostitution.
Diddy
What is
Glover
your reaction to all of this? Not
was
surprised. We were
found
talking about this last
not
night, and I
guilty
actually said this
on
to some
3
colleagues. I
counts.
said, there's
Not
no way
guilty,
they
ladies
can
and
agree
gentlemen.
that they found him guilty of trafficking and
What did I tell y'all?
transportation, because if they had
Not
2 of those,
guilty.
they would have already had the predicate crimes for RICO.
Not guilty. Smash that like button. Everybody who was talking all that shit, Bible, not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Diddy Glover was found not guilty on 3 charges. 3 of the main charges during survival. So everybody that wanted him to be found guilty so bad, now what do you got to say? And all they're going to say is, oh, the other 2 counts that he got charged for, pure survival, they carried 10 years. They're not going to give Diddy Glover more than 2 to 5 years at the max. Pure survival. Not guilty, damn it. I told y'all, yes, I am happy because I don't want to see nobody get an injustice for no reason. I didn't think Cassie was a victim, pure survival. I didn't think Jane Doe was a victim, pure survival. And I did not think that Diddy had a drug organization. You know what I'm saying? Not guilty on 2 counts. I mean, on 3 counts. The other 2 counts ain't nothing.
Pressure, there was no coercion. That is why the trafficking charges fell. What they did.
Trafficking charges failed, ladies and gentlemen. All the counts is right here. All the counts.
Racketeering. The one they were stuck on.
Again, that is count 1, racketeering conspiracy, which had a maximum sentence of life in prison.
But that's just the first of 5 counts. We still have 4
What do
more.
you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I think that this was a tall order, and
Everybody that said Diddy was guilty of RICO, count 1, not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Count 2, not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. What does Tisa motherfucking tell lies going to tell y'all now? I guarantee you she going to be sitting there talking about, oh, he going to get all these years. He only got found guilty for 2 things. And those 2 things, ladies and gentlemen, aren't the big Don Dadas that she was hoping for.
Exactly.
That she was hoping for, and so was the government. Bible. Diddy Glover found not guilty. I told y'all this shit. Not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care. Domestic violence? Yes, he's guilty. But as a Rico, John Gotti, Mafia motherfucker, no, Diddy was never guilty of that part. And I'm not standing with it. Not guilty.
for count 1.
Count 1.
Guilty for
So the
count
racketeering.
1. The one they were stuck on.
Again, that is count 1, racketeering conspiracy, which had a maximum sentence of life in prison.
But that's just the first of 5 counts. We still have 4 more.
What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I think that this was a tall order, and I didn't expect this.
See, now she's saying, I'm not surprised. Not guilty on count 1. I'm not surprised. The life sentence that everybody wanted this man to get life over Cassie and Jane Ho, pure survival, he got found not guilty. Count 1. Let's finish listening.
That you're asking about being involved in this enterprise are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked. I think by virtue of their job descriptions, this could not have been agreement into a part of this conspiracy.
Because these were bodyguards, assistants, etc. These were not co-partners in a business enterprise.
Not guilty.
That would suggest organized crime.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are still waiting to hear what the other counts, how they will determine the other counts here. We just learned count 2
is not guilty.
Count 2, not
That
guilty.
is-
Count 1, not guilty. Count two, not guilty. I don't know why people can't just accept reality. Pure Bible. This is not saying that Diddy is not a mean person. This is not saying that he's not a violent person or a bad boyfriend. They are saying he's not guilty of a RICO charge of a drug organization, count one and count two, not guilty. So only thing people gonna try to be happy for are the two counts that he was found guilty of, which are the smaller ones. This is the verdict it should have been. He should have at the max. You know what I'm saying? It should have been only one guilty out of all of them. But not guilty, ladies and gentlemen, count one. Not guilty, ladies and gentlemen, count two.
Because these were bodyguards, assistants, etc. These were not co-partners in a business enterprise, which would suggest organized crime.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are still waiting to hear what the other counts, how they will determine the other counts here. We just learned count two is not guilty. Not guilty. That
Not
is
guilty.
That's sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and that's for victim
Not
one.
guilty
which is
for
Kathy
sex
Ventura.
trafficking.
Max sentence of that would be life in prison. Tell me what you
But
think
we
about
do
that.
really quickly have to say.
Not guilty for sex trafficking Cassie. I told y'all Cassie wasn't a victim. Pure Bible. Now who y'all gonna be mad at? Y'all gonna be mad at the jurors? Y'all gonna say that the jurors is lying? Did Diddy Glover pay for the jurors during survival? No, Cassie was not a victim. Y'all need to tell the damn truth. Cassie is the winner of this whole thing during survival. Cassie is counting $40 million while everybody's sitting around, let's give this man life in prison. No, they said not guilty for Cassie, Rico and her. That was another life sentence. Two of the life sentences Diddy was found not guilty of. Not guilty for three things. The only thing he was found guilty of is the small charges. He's a zero record, ladies and gentlemen. He damn near got that time in now.
Counts, how they will determine the other counts here. We just learned count two is not guilty. Not guilty. That is
That's sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and that's for victim one, which is Cassie Ventura. Max sentence of that would be life in prison. Tell me what you think about that.
We do really quickly have to say.
Okay.
Count three is guilty.
Count three is guilty.
Count
Right.
three is guilty. That's transportation.
Count three is guilty. Transportation. Okay, he paid to transport. He's paid for Cassie's flight during survival. Count three, he was found guilty. And there's going to be a lot of people found guilty for count three. Pure survival. If you paying for people to fly out, if you paying for people to come to you, he was found guilty of that during survival. And it's a whole bunch of other motherfuckers that's been paying for people flights that's just as guilty. And that's a crime because he paid for your flight. I thought that women wanted the men to pay for everything. Pure survival. Oh, where's Tisa Tell's lies at now? That she sat out in front of the courthouse talking about the way Diddy and them was praying. It was like they were devils and devil worshiping. I said, you the damn devil. These people are just praying. Praying is just praying. If your life is in danger and you looking at life in prison, pure survival, of course you're going to pray to God. She trying to make her people think, oh, it's a cult thing. They're just sitting around as a cult. No, Tisa Tells lies. You better cry in front of that courthouse, pure survival. She going to go up there and talk about them two charges that he was found guilty of. But I'm letting y'all know right now, ladies and gentlemen, them two charges aren't nothing. They're going to say, oh, they carried 10 years. He's not going to get the max. I told my wife Diddy was only looking at 2 to 5 years at the max. Pure survival, 2 to 4. Now that's exactly what he's looking at right now. I don't care what nobody say. That man was found not guilty, so let him be not guilty.
Count two,
not guilty.
Not guilty. That is
That's sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and that's for victim one, which is Cassie Ventura. Max sentence of that would be life in prison. Tell me what you think about that.
We do really quickly have to say.
Okay.
Count three is guilty.
Count three is guilty.
Count
Right.
three is guilty. That's transportation to engage in prostitution with victim one, which is relating to his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. That carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
Correct.
So far, count one, count two, not guilty. But
Y'all hear that? The one with Cassie transporting her carries 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Diddy is not going to get 10 years. So do not get excited about that. Pure Bible. And if the other one carried 10 years, guess what they're going to do? They're going to run it concurrent. Diddy going to get a 1 to 10 and a whole bunch of probation during survival.
In prostitution with victim 1, which is relating to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. That carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
Correct.
So far, count 1, count 2, not guilty. But count 3, which he faces 2 similar charges with his second victim, which will be
Correct.
Dell. What does that make out for you?
What that says is that they saw the transportation for prostitution. They believe that he was aware of what he was doing and that he was engaging and moving individuals for the purposes of prostitution. As far as trafficking, what they're saying is that they do not believe that him getting Cassie to these freak-offs was done under force, duress, or coercion. And
they did not believe that Diddy was trafficking and forcing Cassie to come to no freak-offs. Bible. You want to know why? Because they looked at them freak-off tapes and saw how much Cassie enjoyed getting pee-peed on during survival. Everybody kept thinking, oh, they're looking at the tapes. Oh, the juror is so disgusted. Like the juror never saw pornography before. Survival. Everybody on this live seen pornography. So don't act like you looking at pornography. Oh my God, I can't believe that she's making his wiener disappear. I can't believe. Like we ain't never seen nobody be disgusting on Pornhub. All these nasty porns. And when they saw Cassie in there backing it up, enjoying every bit of those ding-a-lings, they said this girl ain't no damn victim. I knew she wasn't no motherfucker victim. It's too many hoes getting the pass for giving up that ass for the cash. Bible. And that's all she was doing. I'm so happy because once I went through this trial and found out what they was getting Diddy on, when I thought he had something to do with little kids, when I thought that Justin Bieber was coming out, I thought that Orlando Brown, all of these people, I ain't see no motherfucking freaky deaky tapes with none of the celebrities or no kids. So why should I feel like this man should get life in prison because he beat up his girlfriend? And they found out that Cassie was beating him up too. Pure Bible. When I know people on the street, and some of y'all got girlfriends who got beat up last night, and you don't see their boyfriends going to jail for life. Pure Bible. So I'm just thinking with my regular common sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, they trying to roof this man. But the juror did not buy it. Ladies and gentlemen, not guilty on 3 counts, found guilty on 2, which is the smallest shit ever. Prostitution. Okay, he was buying those male prostitutes during survival. But how many of y'all grandparents and grandfathers driving around picking up prostitutes down there in motherfucking what is it, in Vegas, buying vagina all over the place? Then that means that all the people who buy a pussy or buy a ding-a-ling should get life in prison. Pure survival, because you's a nasty freaking motherfucker. Surviving the fact that Diddy Glover got a not guilty verdict.
Count 3 is guilty. That's transportation to engage in prostitution with victim 1, which is relating to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. That carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
Correct.
So far, count 1, count 2, not guilty. But count 3, which he faces 2 similar charges with his second victim, which will be
correct.
Dell. What does that make out for you?
What that says is that they saw the transportation for prostitution. They believe that he was aware of what he was doing and that he was engaging and moving individuals for the purposes of prostitution. As far as trafficking, what they're saying is that they do not believe that him getting Cassie to these freak-offs was done under force, duress, or coercion. And that is what the jury is telling us.
Count 4, not guilty regarding sex trafficking by force or coercion. Not guilty.
And that's in
Count 4, not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Guilty of count 3, but count 4, not guilty. Bottom line, I don't give a damn if you say, oh, you a Diddy supporter. No, I'm a supporter of justice. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? Just because you mad at him for other things, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't proven, should I want this man to get life in prison? Bible. Then you got people from Making It a Band. They all wasn't RBO Day. They were saying, oh, well, Diddy didn't do me wrong besides make me go get a cheesecake. Bible. You know what I'm saying? So why, if they don't want him to get life, Why should I want this man to get life? I don't even know Diddy Glover during survival. I've made fun of Diddy Glover for 2 years straight. Pure survival. You know what I'm talking about? And making fun of him made me a happy Christmas 2 years straight. Pure survival. So now I'm not going to lie. The fact that he's not guilty, count 4, not guilty for sex trafficking by force. This means, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody that want to keep saying Tisa tells lies, sit up there saying, oh, she was forced. Did he force Cassie? Did he force motherfucker Jane Doe? Well, those 12 jurors, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't feel like those hoes was forced. They didn't feel like those hoes was coerced. Pure survival. So let it be what it is. I want somebody go get on Tisa's live right now. I want to hear the lies she going to say when she get on her live. Pure survival. What you going to tell the people now, Tisa tells lies? Tell them the truth. We keeping it real. We ain't keeping it like your weave. We not keeping it fake over here. We are keeping it real, goddammit. You know what I mean? Let's see if the news people want your ass now. Pure survival. White America gonna tell you to go kick rocks, Tisa. You can't join with us no more. No more Nancy Grace. Pure survival. We gonna let you come on one last time so you can sit up there and try to say, this is a disgrace. Diddy is a monster. He was praying in court to the devil. That's what you want to tell your people. If they down to believe that shit, pure survival, then believe it. But you ain't talking about motherfucking Brian Kohlberger, who admitted to his guilt of killing 4 innocent college students. Pure survival. Why ain't you talking about that? Tisa tells lies. You know what I'm talking about? Or Mom Wiggins. I want to hear what your ass going to say. I want to hear what your straight side going to say, pure survival. And I want to hear your motherfucking diva side. I want to hear Mom Wiggins get on his live talking about Diddy. And Diddy was found not guilty. Diddy, I want to hear what you say, Armand. Pure survival. Yes, Diddy found not motherfucking guilty. You know what I'm talking about? Got him for the smallest charges, ladies and gentlemen, and he gonna be up out of there. And I'm still gonna make fun of him. I'm still gonna make jokes about Diddy. But I don't like that unjust shit. I got friends in prison walking the yard right now. You know what I'm talking about? I got a brother who just called me from jail. Pure survival. So why would I want to see somebody go to jail if they didn't do the shit? Come on now.
What does that make out for you?
What that says is that they saw the transportation for prostitution. They believe that he was aware of what he was doing and that he was engaging and moving individuals for the purposes of prostitution. As far as trafficking, what they're saying is that they do not believe that him getting Cassie to these freak-offs was done under force, duress, or coercion. And that is what the jury is telling us.
Count 4, not guilty regarding sex trafficking by force or coercion. Not guilty.
And that's in relation to Jane Doe.
Right.
But count 5
just came in.
Guilty just came into our
Guilty, right.
And that's relating again to Jane.
That is a consistent verdict with the law, that's consistent with the burden that was met by the prosecution, and it's consistent across the board. What they found is that there was no force, there was no undue pressure, there was no coercion. That is
no force, no pressure, no none of that. I told my woman that this was going to happen. Pure survival. She's on this live right now. I told her. Where is the 15 to 40 years at, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, where is the life in prison? Why should he had got that much time? Pure survival. Because he was a nasty fucking buzzard. That's the one thing about it. Diddy Glover is a nasty buzzard. You know what I'm talking about? His career is forever shattered. So you already got enough out the motherfucker. Pure survival. You know what I'm saying? But why you got to give the man life? So he was found guilty on count 1, not guilty count 1, not guilty count 2, guilty on count 3, not guilty on count 4, and guilty on count 5, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button. Baby, didn't I tell you that Diddy's only going to get about 2 to 4 years at the most? Yes, that's what's going to happen. But Tisa Tells Lies is going to be up there trying to tell people these 2 charges, Diddy's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. That hoe be lying like a motherfucker. Pure survival.
That moment, you're at the top of the roller coaster, it's anxious, you're on pins and needles, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Not guilty for count 1.
Count
What I
1.
expect.
Guilty for count
racketeering.
1. The one they were stuck on.
Again, that is count 1, racketeering conspiracy, which had a maximum sentence of life in prison.
But that's just the first of 5 counts. We still have for
What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I think that this was a tall order, and I didn't expect this. The people that you're asking about being involved in this enterprise are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked.
It's not saying he knows she's being trafficked. Salute the Rich just hit that super chat, said the smallest charges, you think that's a coincidence? Remember, Diddy and Trump is very good friends. Listen, no matter what, right? And I appreciate your super chat, but I'm not even going to put Donald in this during survival, ma'am. I appreciate your super chat, but I feel as though the reason why he got the smallest charges, I'm going to keep it real, Miss Rich, because I feel like that's the only charges that they prove. So even if Donald Trump and Donald Trump's toupee had something to do with this, Pierce the Bible, if Donald Trump toupee had something to do with this, Diddy Glover should have only been found guilty at the max for the smallest shit. Pierce the Bible. Like they're saying, none of these people was proven to be forced to do nothing. I don't understand how people want somebody to get life in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because if you decide to do something nasty with your man tonight, Bible, if your man have you sleep with a dozen motherfucking wieners 20 times, and then one time you could just say, oh, I didn't feel like doing it that day. Sex trafficking, Bible. How is that so? But the 20 times you was backing it up, taking the urine all in the eyes, all of that shit. No, it was unjust. He shouldn't have been found guilty of those things. If he was going to be found guilty, it would be for what they found him guilty for. Because they knew he was buying the wieners. He was buying the Punisher. He was buying them. Okay, I'm guilty. I wanted to see men clap my willing participant girlfriend's cheeks so I could sit in a corner and stroke my Roku remote with a goddamn karate mask on. That's not no damn crime. It's disgusting. But you see stuff like that in pornos every day. They got a porno called Gag-a-ho or something gag or some shit like that, where it's a bunch of white dudes gagging black girls during survival. They look like, and they got them looking like they slaves and everything. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? But then I'm like, well, they getting them back because it's black dudes shoving anacondas down these girls, the white girls' throats. So I'm like, oh, they having competition or who could do the most nastiest shit to each other. But then you see the Japanese porns. They doing all nasty stuff. The Japanese girls and then Jackie Chan's daughter and that don't come to the eyes. It's just people, this is a freaky world. But going to jail for life because you are disgusting in the bedroom, I think it's preposterous. And I want to shout out to the goddamn jury because the jury brought it back and they brought it home. Everybody was talking about yesterday. Motherfuckers even had my heart beating. You know what I'm talking about? Yesterday, oh, Diddy's done. You seen him? He put his head in the thing. Who said that? Tisa tells lies. Trying to make people think, oh, it's over. She was talking about, yeah, the state, they were just chilling. They were just sitting there like, yeah, we know we got him. He's done. Diddy came in there looking sad than a motherfucker. Like, you're going to feel that way if your life is on the line. Your life is on the line. You know what I'm saying? I'm going off of right and wrong. I don't care about that damn Cassie goddamn tape. I cared about it in the beginning. But when I heard her talking and putting hits out on people, talking about how much she loved the freakoff, when I found out that same day on that tape, she went back and did some freaky shit with Diddy the same night, why should I feel bad for her? When Cassie is out there spinning that motherfucker body. She out there with the personal trainer that she married. She out there like Plies talking about, I got plenty of money, I got plenty of money, I got plenty of money. And all these people out here talking about, well, send him under the jail. Diddy should be going for the rest of his life. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? It's not right, y'all. It's not right. And I don't care if you a fan of Tisa during survival, go listen to her. You know what I'm saying? because this trial made me dislike her during survival. I never disliked Tisa before, but once I saw how hard she was going to try to get a guilty verdict pure survival, as if Diddy did something to her, and I look at her, she looked like she would have hauled ass to if Diddy would have said, "Look, you want to be one of my freak-off mermaids?" Pure survival. She'd have been like, "Yes." You see how hype she got when Kanye West came to the courthouse? Pure survival. She's like, "Kanye said hi to me. Kanye said hi to me." And bitch, you trying to get Kanye's friend life in prison. Pure survival. You faker than fake. It ain't just the hair that's fake, goddammit. It's your whole thing, Tisa tells. That's why the top of half of your body don't match with your bottom half of your body. Pure survival. I've seen you in person, so I know all that makeup and all that shit. It's a demon behind it. You wanted to say Diddy and them was praying in the court as a cult. I see the demon smoke and the fucking horns, the devil horns coming out of your motherfucking shit. Pure survival. I don't give a damn about those eyes. Motherfuckers look at you. Oh, she got beautiful eyes. That is her devil, goddammit. Pure survival. She did everything she could to try to get down with white America. Guarantee you white America will kick her ass to the curb. Because even white America said that this shouldn't have happened. They even said it. It's two different white Americas, ladies and gentlemen. This is one side of white America, pure survival. This is the other side. This side is saying, y'all know damn well y'all shouldn't have did this. Come on now. Then this side of white America is like, we don't give a fuck. We're going to get them. We're the feds. We're going to prove it. You know what I mean? So I'm going with this side of white America, pure survival. I'm like, hold on. They saying that they people is doing this purposely, that this shouldn't even be happening. So why should I get on YouTube and listen to the niggas? Pure survival. Y'all got to get them likes up. For not guilty, Diddy Glover, and I'm happy for you.
That moment, you're at the top of the roller coaster, it's anxious, you're on pins and needles, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Not guilty for count one.
Count
What I
one.
expect.
Guilty for
So the
count
racketeering.
one. The one they were stuck on.
Again, that is count one, racketeering conspiracy, which had a maximum sentence of life in prison.
But that's just the first
Just
of
the first.
5 counts. We still have 4
What do
more.
you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I think that this was a tall order, and I didn't expect this. The people that you're
You
asking-
hear that, ladies and gentlemen? The other side of white America, soon as the verdict said not guilty on count one, she said, "I'm not surprised." I'm not surprised. But guess who is surprised? Pure survival. Tisa motherfucker tells lies. This part of white America not surprised. They like, shit, it shouldn't have happened anyway. But Tisa tells motherfucker lies. She probably sitting outside the courtroom. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Trying to hurry up and jump inside her motherfucker Uber. Pure survival. Y'all got to get them likes up. We got 1,600 people in the building. Diddy Glover was found not guilty. And the man, if he's not guilty, he's not guilty. Just face it, goddammit. If you was so hell-bent hoping this morning that Diddy Glover will be found guilty, he wasn't. During survival, he didn't force Cassie and them to do a damn thing. Dumb hoes did what they wanted to do. Pure survival.
5 counts. We still have 4
What do
more.
you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I think that this was a tall order, and I didn't expect this. The people that you're asking about being involved in this enterprise are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked. I think by virtue of their job.
And did you hear that? They said if a security guard was sitting around when Diddy was having a fight with Cassie, pure survival, it doesn't mean it was a criminal organization. And y'all should already know that. Y'all acting like you've never been around where none of your friends or family got into an argument or a fight that got messy, somebody in your family or your friends in front of you, and you tried to help break it up. And then imagine them say, well, you know what? You're a part of the criminal organization. When you trying to stop these two motherfucker drama queens from fighting, pure survival, everybody try to act like they don't know what real life is. Like they don't go through this or have sex and do all kinds of, if I found out how disgusting some of these people is, like I told you, Tisa Tells Lies would have been one of the girls. The reason why she stood so hard for Cassie and Jane Ho, knowing that them girls was willing participants, because she's the type of girl that would have came and said that Diddy did this to her. She's that type of girl. I'm telling you, anybody that mess with her better pay attention. Cause she the type will go to them police and lie and say a man did something to her. Pure Bible. I can already tell. I can see through her fake ass. She would be the type of girl that'll tell the police that you hit her, that you R-worded her. She's a liar like that. That's why she was standing so hard with the liars. You know what I'm saying? Not guilty, y'all. Not guilty for the bullshit.
Are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked. I think by virtue of their job descriptions, this could not have been agreement into a part of this conspiracy.
Because these were bodyguards, assistants, etc. These were not co-partners in a business enterprise. Which would suggest organized crime.
Exactly.
Okay.
It wasn't organized crime. These was not people working for Diddy, doing all this old other shit. It's not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to keep screaming not guilty to the moon, even if, because you know what, the people that wanted him to be guilty, they're going to be leaning on the 2 charges that he was found guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, which one is better? To be found not guilty on 3 or 2 out of 5? Motherfucker, that's a super win. I'm found not guilty out of 3 out of 5 charges. Pure survival. And then you gave me the smallest charges. I keep telling y'all, prostitution is nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. In that part of America, you know the America part, remember I said there's 2 sides of white America, pure survival? That side, you know, you got federal agents, in my opinion, pure survival, that be buying more pussy than a little bit. They be buying more kitty cat than a little bit. Real pure survival. You don't even like your wife at home. That's why y'all stay at work, because y'all don't like your wife. And your wife don't like you either. Pure survival. She probably like a motherfucker like Diddy Glover. Matter of fact, not like Diddy Glover, like one of the guys that Diddy like. Your wives like the same kind of guys that Diddy was buying and flying out so he could watch them clap Cassie's cheeks. Pure survival. Your wife is trying to get a mandingo. And y'all is out there trying to get your motherfucking prostitute on. Pure survival, black ones, Chinese ones, white ones. This is something that they do. I know this for a fact. I've seen this with my own eyes, pure survival. So how you gonna give somebody life in prison for buying Regina? Imagine the dudes out there that can't get no pussy, pure survival. A motherfucker, I mean, he's a nice guy, but let's say he might be afraid to talk to women, or he's scared, or he's shy to talk to women. You know what I'm saying? And he feel like, damn, you know, I want to get this nut off. So, and she's selling the motherfucker, pure survival. She's selling it for $150. Where is the crime at? The man just want to bust the motherfucker nut, pure survival. So it's the female fault for selling her pussy. You know what I mean? You is not going to make me feel like these girls was victims. And that's why Diddy Glover was found not guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because he should have. This is crazy, y'all. Not guilty, baby. I'm happy for him. I'm telling you I am. I am. After watching this whole trial, even going in the courtroom, I would have been upset right now if this was about Tupac, Biggie, or anybody we speculated, Kim Porter, or if it was about kids or something like that, or if this was domestic violence, I would have been like, y'all, the system is terrible. Did he definitely domestically beat the girl up? But RICO, sex trafficking, females who was getting money every month, a girl who's getting her rent paid $10,000 right now a month, pure survival. And then I'm paying for her lawyers. How am I going to feel like that's a victim?
You ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked. I think by virtue of their job descriptions, this could not have been agreement into a part of this conspiracy.
Because these were bodyguards, assistants, etc. These were not co-partners in a business enterprise, which would suggest organized crime.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are still waiting to hear what the other counts, how they will determine the other counts here. We just learned count 2
is not guilty.
Not guilty. That is
That's sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and that's for victim one, which is Cassie Ventura. Max sentence of that would be life in prison. Tell me what you think about that.
We do really quickly have to say,
Okay.
count three is guilty.
Count three
Just
is guilty.
Count
Right.
three is guilty. That's transportation to engage in prostitution with victim one, which is relating to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. That carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
Correct.
So far, count one, count two, not guilty. But count three, which he faces two similar charges with his second victim, which will be
Correct.
Joe. What does that make out for you? How do you
What that says is that they saw the transportation for prostitution. They believe that he was aware of what he was doing and that he was engaging and moving individuals for the purposes of prostitution. As far as trafficking, what they're saying is that they do not believe that him getting Cassie to these freak-offs was done under force, duress, or coercion. And that is what
Wasn't forced at all. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button. Everybody smash that like button that's in the building. The verdict is in, ladies and gentlemen. I want this, watch y'all see how many people, how many YouTube creators that y'all was hearing kept talking about Diddy's guilty, give him life, give him the electric chair. Watch how many of them change up their story. Watch. If y'all watch them people, pay attention how they switch their turn, their tone. Pure survival. Watch them. And if they don't switch their turn, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to try to say the two charges, Diddy's going to get 10 years. But watch the news people in white America. Watch how much they say, well, we knew that they overreached and, they shouldn't have charged them with that, da-da-da-da. But these dummies on YouTube still going to be trying to say, oh, well, he's going to get 10 years, da-da-da-da. When you're going to have the news people that's going to say, well, they shouldn't have overcharged him. We knew that this was going to happen anyway. Same ones that kept talking about he gonna get the life. They're gonna be like, well, we knew this was gonna happen. It was an overcharge, da-da-da-da. Then you're gonna have dumb motherfuckers on YouTube sitting there talking about, yeah, well, the 10 years he gonna get is gonna send him to the moon and da-da-da-da-da. And I can tell these people that never been incarcerated, not saying that's a cute thing, but never been in that situation. But you want somebody to get the worst out of a situation that you know nothing about. Pure survival. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy thing. And you wouldn't want people to be talking about, well, give you life, especially if you know that somebody was getting high with you, doing the pipe with you, that was a dope fiend with you. You like, goddamn, I let the motherfucker hit my blunt. Now they saying that I sold it to him, that I'm a trafficker. If don't want somebody to be found guilty of something you wouldn't want to be found guilty for. That's how I look at this shit. I'm sorry, guys. Out of the comedy shit, I'm a real person. You know what I'm saying? I come from a real place where unjust situations happen a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of criminal shit that people done did too, pure survival, that's getting what they deserve. You know what I'm saying? But I want to see it go the way it should go for what you're being charged with. You know what I'm talking about? If somebody charged you with assault, and all you did was yell at somebody, I'm going to be upset. Like, why are you giving this man or her assault when all she did was yell? She never hit a person. Assault is hitting. If Diddy was charged with assault, I would have said, send him up for the little 6 months that you get for assault. You don't get a whole bunch of time for domestic violence. Pure survival. Half of you motherfuckers wouldn't be out of jail right now if they gave you life for domestic violence. Look at your boyfriend, ladies. Ask his ass. Have you ever got domestic violence before? He gonna tell you no. Or if you got a real one, he gonna say yeah. But the bitch was lying. Pure survival. Like we don't know that life or that world. Come on, man.
As far as trafficking, what they're saying is that they do not believe that him getting Cassie to these freak-offs was done under force, duress, or coercion. And that is what the jury is telling us.
Count 4, not guilty regarding sex trafficking by force or coercion. Not guilty.
And that's in relation to Jane Doe.
Right.
But count five
just came in.
Guilty just came into our
Guilty,
newsroom.
right.
And that's relating again to Jane.
That is a consistent verdict with the law that's consistent with the burden that was met by the prosecution, and it's consistent across the board. What they found is that there was no force, there was no undue pressure, there was no coercion. That is why the trafficking charges fell. What they did find in both cases is that he was very well aware, regardless of a freak-off, a hotel night, or a kid night, that he was moving individuals for the purposes of prostitution.
And that is fine. Of course, Diddy was the one with the money. So of course I was moving and shaking. These motherfuckers ain't had the money that I had. So yeah, I paid for this person to fly out. I paid for this hotel. My money is legitimate. It's from my record companies and things like that. Not a drug organization. Pure survival. I'm guilty of buying wieners. He had a wiener fetish. Hopefully Diddy Glover gets out and get him a boyfriend. That's what I would tell Diddy. You Diddy Baba out of this courthouse. If you do a year at the most left, pure survival, because you already got damn near a year in now. You know what I'm saying? And another people don't understand, in the federal joint, you get 3 months knocked off every year in the feds, ladies and gentlemen. 3 months off of each joint. I got plenty of friends that came home from the feds. I got a couple still up there now. You know what I'm talking about? So it's 3 months that you get off each year in the feds, ladies and gentlemen. So all of the people that wanted him to get the big time, just hope that Diddy comes out and do something dumb. Pure survival. Hopefully he come out and do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? And then this is what's really going to hurt Tisa Tell's lies. If the judge grant Diddy, because you know you got some bad motherfucking lawyers, pure survival, they held it down. You know what I mean? If they grant Diddy, because it is an option, that he can get bail until his sentence, ladies and gentlemen. And Tisa will go jump in the river, pure survival, and you will see her motherfucking weave just floating in the goddamn ocean. Nothing but her motherfucking weave during survival. All that fake ass hair just floating in the goddamn ocean. And then he get bail. And you know they denied it every other time. But now we know that he's not a RICO person. So what do you think the judge gonna do now when he says, hey, y'all still want that $10 million for bail? And tell Diddy court, which is only right. Why not? Why can't the man get bail until he gets sentenced? Pure survival. Why did they let Abercrombie and Fitch, just as ugly as Abercrombie and Fitch face look, pure survival, he looked like a monster. They should have put him under the jail, right next to Brian Kohlberger, pure survival, just from looking at how scary he looked, the dude that owned Abercrombie and Fitch. But no, they gave him bail immediately. And he was sex trafficking boys, young motherfucking boys. You know what I'm saying? But nobody was in the uproar for that. They shot so hard for Diddy Glover to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I had my feet on his freak off neck, pure survival, for a minute since Jamie Foxx. You know what I mean? But when I found out about this case and I saw what this case was really about, I said, man, I would be wrong if I'm just hoping for this man to be found guilty when I know damn well I'm looking like, damn, if these girls was with me, only girlfriends, and they get mad and lie. And we know it's so many people that be lying like that. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you lose all your motherfucking money. The feds get to take all your money and say, you were a drug organization. After you worked so hard to make what you make for his money. It don't got nothing to do with that you a terrible motherfucker. But damn, you gonna take my money too? You know, like I couldn't stand with that. I am sorry. And I do not care who's mad. Please do not take nobody out the chat. If they come in and say something stupid, who gives a damn? Pure survival. You know what I mean? They're the ones upset for the day. I'm not upset for the day. If Diddy was found guilty of a RICO, I would have been pissed off, pure survival. Because I know that that is not the right charge that he should have got found guilty for. And so does white America. You know what I'm saying? And I told all of y'all, shout out to everybody in the building. To Teresa, not guilty, Teresa. They found him not guilty for count 1, not guilty for count 2, guilty on count 3, and not guilty on count 4, and guilty on count 5. Miss Teresa Bullock. And you know what that means? The 2 charges he was found guilty on are the ones that carry 10 years. And those are the ones that are going to run concurrent. And those are the ones where Diddy is going to get federal probation. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get time served probably. Like I told my woman, Teresa, I told her, I said, baby, I'm telling you, Diddy is only looking at a 2 to 4. Yeah, I mean, Diddy has a 0 record. No matter how much criminal shit that his name came up in, or what we all allege or believe that he done, Diddy's don't have no felonies. You know what I'm saying? Now, if Diddy was a felon, it'd be something different. They have something called a guideline chart. A guideline chart. They just add up everything you ever did in your life. If you got a little misdemeanor from when you was in the first grade, you got another misdemeanor, a public drunkenness, all that. They gather this shit all up on your record to make you have all these motherfucking points. You know what I'm saying? Then you become 40 or 50 years old and get a DUI, and they can damn near give you 5 years, pure survival, for some shit you did years ago. That's how they build the guideline chart. Diddy Glover is not on the guideline chart. You know what I'm talking about? And y'all know I got love for Gene Deal, and I got love for Gene Deal's kneecaps, and I told him I wouldn't make that joke no more. But no, and you know, I fuck with Gene Deal. You know what I'm saying? But I know Gene is not going to be happy about this. And I'm looking forward to hear what Gene going to say as well. But I got, you know what I mean? I still got love for Gene. You know what I mean? And that I'm not going to change that and start making fun of his kneecaps. You know what I'm saying? But I know Gene ain't happy about this. Pure survival. It's a lot of motherfuckers that ain't happy. But one person who is me. Is me, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to see nobody do life in prison for some shit that, come on, man. 3 girlfriends. Oh my God. And I'm talking about every dude. That when I was hearing the dudes going all crazy, yes, give Diddy life. And it be narcissist dudes. That be YouTube creators. Pure survival. You'll hear them screaming and hollering at motherfuckers. And it's like, sir, Mr. Ticket TV, you sound like a narcissist, pure survival. So why are you trying to get this man life in prison, pure survival, and you probably allegedly put your hands on chicks more than a little bit from the way you sound, pure survival, sir? I want to hear what you got to say. You know what I'm talking about? I know you don't show your face, pure survival, but I want to hear what your ass got to say. Cause you was shooting high. And I guarantee you that nigga gonna get on there talking about, yeah, Diddy's gonna get a whole bunch of time for these 2 charges, pure survival. You know what I mean? And hopefully him, Tisa Tells, all the other ones that was on that Diddy get life money train, I hope that they just keep it real and get up there and just say, we lost. We was wrong. Tell your audience, we was wrong. You know what I'm saying? We was cheering on this man to get this when we know the skeletons we got in our closet. Oh my God, pure survival. Not guilty, goddammit. And the 2 charges that he got found guilty for, ladies and gentlemen, that ain't shit.
Expect this. The people that you're asking about being involved in this enterprise are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked.
Somebody asked me a question. Damien said, what am I celebrating? I'm celebrating someone not getting life in prison for no reason. That's what I'm celebrating, sir. Pure survival.
Expect this. The people that you're asking about being involved in this enterprise are people that are charged with doing a job that says that they will do what you ask them to do. Delivering supplies is not being complicit in a crime. Being a security guard who's present when he is assaulting his girlfriend is not saying that he knows she's being trafficked. I think by virtue of their job descriptions, this could not have been agreement into a part of this conspiracy.
Because these were bodyguards, assistants, etc. These were not co-partners in a business enterprise, which would suggest organized crime.
Exactly.
No organized crime, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just pay attention to this right here. Not guilty. Not guilty. Whether you wanted him to be guilty or not, he was found not guilty of a RICO offense. Pure survival.